A man remembers two things in life: the moment she left and the moment she stood still when he came back. My friends, let that settle in your chest for a second. Let it echo a little, because whether you're deep in a connection or just starting something new, there will come a moment where he pulls away. Maybe not with a big dramatic exit, no fireworks or final words. No, sometimes it's quiet, like a door gently closing in the background of your life. You're texting one day, laughing the next, and suddenly his energy's gone dim. You feel it, don't you? That space between messages gets wider, his responses get shorter, your intuition starts buzzing like a radio that won't turn off. And you, what do? If you're like most women, your first instinct is to fix it. Text more, overthink, ask the questions he's not answering. But let me tell you something that might flip the script in your mind. He almost always comes back. But the future of your connection, that depends on what you do in the space between. Before we go further, go ahead and press that like button, hit subscribe, and do it for you, not for me, because this isn't just about getting a man back. It's about becoming the woman who doesn't flinch when he disappears and doesn't crumble when he returns. And I've got something waiting for you at the end of this video, a subtle shift that makes him not just remember you, but re-feel you. Hey ladies, imagine this. You're standing in a grand hall. It's dimly lit, echoing with silence. A man walks in looking for something familiar. He remembers the music, the warmth, the light, but all he sees is a room that has evolved in his absence. You haven't been waiting at the door. You've been redesigning the space, rearranging your energy, elevating the standard. When he steps back in, he doesn't just see you. He sees who you became without him. That's not rejection, that's revelation. Because in every relationship, there comes a moment when the man pulls back. Maybe he got scared. Maybe it got too real. Maybe he just didn't know how to hold the softness of a woman who feels deeply. Whatever the reason, it's not always about you, but how you respond to that silence. That is entirely about you. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. A man doesn't fall in love when he's chasing you. He falls in love when he returns and sees something he didn't know he could lose. You don't need 1,000 clever responses. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to beg, bend, or broadcast your value. You need one thing: presence. Carl Jung once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." So, if he's pulled away, don't chase. Awaken. Return to yourself. Let him come back to a woman who didn't shrink in his absence, but expanded in it. Because this isn't just about how to respond to a man, this is about how to respond to a moment. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, I'll give you something small but powerful. A shift, a phrase, a truth, something most women miss. And once you understand it, you won't just wait for him to come back. You'll know exactly what to do when he does. Stay grounded, stay glowing, and I'll see you in the next breath. Number 1, don't panic, prepare. Let's imagine this: the man you've been falling for, the one who made you laugh, the one who made your heart race, the one you opened yourself up to, suddenly starts pulling away. He was texting good morning every day, calling you just to hear your voice, making plans like he was building something real. And now, it's quiet. He's slower to respond. He's different. And your heart, it knows. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, but it's undeniable. And believe me, my friends, there's always a moment like this. In every love story, in every situationship, in every blooming romance. This is the part no one tells you about. The shift, the silence, the breath he takes when it feels like things are getting real. And in that moment, what do we all do? We panic, and it's almost automatic. You feel the drop in energy and your mind goes racing. Did I do something wrong? Is he losing interest? Was I too much? Not enough? And just like that, you're no longer in your center. You're in a chase, not with him, but with clarity. You just want answers. But what you give off is anxiety, and here's where it all begins to unravel, unless you pause. Now, I know that pause doesn't feel natural. When someone pulls away, it feels personal. Even when it's not, it feels like a rejection, a dismissal, a door slowly closing that you desperately want to keep open. But what if I told you that first pullback, it's not rejection, it's not even loss, it's a test. Not his test, yours. Because real love, yes, even in its early stages, isn't just built through connection. It's revealed in the space between. And what you do in that space, that's everything. See, most men don't pull away because they stopped caring. Many of them pull away because they started feeling too much. Attraction became emotion. Comfort turned into vulnerability. And now he's in new territory, unsure of what to do next. So he pauses. But while he's pausing, you're panicking. And your panic makes him feel what he was afraid of all along, that closeness might cost him his freedom, his peace, his control. So he leans back even more. You see the cycle? You don't prepare for this moment by chasing him. You prepare by anchoring in yourself. Think of it like this. You're the ocean, deep, calm, powerful. A man might be drawn to swim in your waters, but if the waves get chaotic every time he gets close, he'll start to fear the tide. But when your waters are steady, when your current is consistent, when your energy says, I'm good here, with or without you, that's when he stays, or better, returns with clarity. So no, don't panic, prepare. Pull your focus back to your center. What makes you laugh? What gives you joy? Who were you before he entered the picture? And what version of you has started to disappear since? Bring her back. That's the woman he was drawn to in the first place. And more importantly, that's the woman who doesn't collapse when someone steps back. Because this isn't about playing games. It's about holding your ground, not to punish him, but to honor you. Now stay with me, my friends, because what comes next? When he returns, and most do, you don't greet him the same way. You meet him with a new standard, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that without ever raising your voice. Number 2, silence isn't absence, it's data. Let's talk about the silence. You know the kind, the one that creeps in slowly. One day he's calling you every night, checking in, laughing, sharing pieces of his day. Then suddenly, the pace changes. The calls slow down. The texts get shorter. You feel the shift before you even see it. The silence enters the room before the explanation does. And instantly, your mind goes into overdrive. What happened? Did I say something wrong? Did I do too much? Is he talking to someone else? But let me offer you something that might change the way you see that silence forever. Silence isn't absence. It's data. It's not a punishment. It's not a vanishing act. It's a message, and it's up to you to read it without jumping to conclusions that only hurt you, because that's what we tend to do, right? We fill the space with fear, with assumptions, with stories we start writing in our heads before we even know the plot. But the women who rise in love, the ones who keep their center, don't fill the silence with panic. They read the frequency. Let's imagine this. You're listening to music on a beautiful old radio. You know the kind, you have to turn the dial slowly to find the station. If you rush it, the sound gets fuzzy. You land between two channels. But if you're still, if you listen carefully, you find the signal. That's how men communicate too, especially when words stop flowing. Sometimes the silence isn't about stopping, it's about tuning in. So don't just ask why he pulled back. Ask when. Was it right after you got closer? Right after you opened up? Or maybe after he did? Was it when things started to feel too good or too real? These aren't just moments. They're patterns. And patterns tell you the truth. Because let's be honest, words are easy. Anyone can say, I like you, or I've been busy. But actions, behavior, reactions to your presence, that's where his real intentions live. And the silence, that's when those patterns become visible. Ask yourself, does he always come back when you lean back too? Does he need space the moment you get close? Does he go quiet when things get vulnerable? Now here's where the power kicks in. You don't need to fix it. You just need to notice it. Because the moment you stop trying to fill the silence and start observing it, you shift out of fear and into power. You stop reacting and you start reading. You see, my friends, a man who's worth your time will reveal himself in the quiet, not just in what he says, but in what he does when no one's pushing him. And when you learn to observe instead of obsess, you stop giving your energy to uncertainty and start investing it in clarity. So next time he goes quiet, don't rush in to break the silence. Let it speak and stay with me. Because next we're going to talk about what to do when he does return. Because you don't just let him walk back in. You change the room he's walking into. Number 3, don't reopen the door, redefine the room. When your relationship moves into that strange phase, the one no one prepares you for, where he starts pulling away, not fully gone, not ghosting, just fading, you feel it. His energy shifts, his presence softens, the texts slow down, the rhythm changes. And whether it's been days, weeks, or just a few confusing moments, You start living in a fog of questions. But my friends, here's what no one tells you. There often comes a moment when he comes back. Not always with an apology, not always with a grand gesture. Sometimes it's subtle, a hey out of nowhere, a voice note you didn't ask for, a story reply, an old song he sends randomly. It doesn't look like closure. It looks like curiosity, testing the water, seeing if the door is still cracked open. But this isn't about his return, it's about your response. So now let's understand what that moment really means, because this is where everything shifts, not just in the relationship, but in you. Don't just reopen the door, redefine the room. When a man comes back, it's easy, so easy to fall into relief. You breathe again, your mind calms, you think, okay, maybe I didn't mess it up, maybe we're back on track. But what if I told you that relief is where most women lose their power? Because you weren't meant to just welcome him back, you were meant to meet him as a new version of you. Think of it this way, your connection with him paused, but your evolution didn't. You're not the same woman who waited for that text. You've had time to reflect, to realign, to rediscover parts of yourself you forgot about when you were trying to impress or overgive or keep things going. That silence didn't just hold space, it taught you. It reminded you what you deserve. And now, he's walking back into a room that's been redecorated. The lighting is different. The vibe has shifted. You've taken down the desperate paintings of "I hope he likes me" and replaced them with framed pieces that say, "I know who I am." That's what he should return to, not a girl still waiting, but a woman who moved forward, and now he needs to rise to meet her. Because the goal isn't to make the reunion about comfort, it's about standard. A man who walks back in without growth, without accountability, without clarity, should feel the upgrade in your energy immediately. Not because you're cold, but because you're centered. You're not punishing him, you're just not making it easy for him to stay the same. See, most men don't expect you to change in their absence. They expect to find the same open door, the same soft welcome, the same emotional access. But when they walk in and feel a shift in the atmosphere, they stop, they adjust, they notice. That's when attraction deepens, not because you pulled away, but because you leveled up while he was gone. So stay with me, my friends, because next, we're going to talk about how to respond, not with attitude, not with emotion, but with calm, clear, feminine confidence. Because the room's been redefined. Now it's time to speak from it. Number 4, you don't have to be cold. You just have to be clear. Let's imagine the moment he's come back. The message finally came. Maybe it's a, "Hey, how have you been?" Or a voice note like nothing ever shifted. Maybe he's testing the waters to see if you'll bite. And in that moment, you feel it. That mix of hope, hesitation, and heat, all wrapped into 1 second. You want to respond, of course you do. A part of you wants to act like nothing happened. Another part wants to say everything you were holding back. But here's where it gets powerful. You don't have to be cold, you just have to be clear. See, a lot of women think their only 2 choices are softness or silence. Either let him back in fully or slam the door. But what if I told you there's a middle space, a place where your voice is warm but your energy is strong, where your words invite conversation but your boundaries keep it real? That's where your power lives. Because mystery doesn't mean confusion, it means intention. You don't have to play games. You don't have to be distant to be respected. And no, you don't have to act unbothered to hold your value. What you do need is emotional clarity. Picture this, you walk into a beautiful room, open windows, sunlight pouring in, music playing low. You feel relaxed, welcomed, but you also notice signs. Please remove your shoes. No food or drinks beyond this point. It's not cold, it's not rude, it's clear. That's how your energy should feel when he walks back in. Welcoming, but with terms. You don't owe him coldness to prove you've changed. You don't need to punish him for going quiet. But you do need to speak from the place in you that knows exactly what she wants and is no longer afraid to say it. This isn't about attitude, it's about alignment. So when he reaches out, you don't jump in with "I missed you so much" or hold back with icy one-word replies. You can be kind, graceful, even playful. But you're not handing him the same easy access he had before. Why? Because this time, you know the cost of your emotional energy and you're not giving discounts anymore. Let him feel welcomed, not owned. He's not entitled to you, he's invited. And invitations come with boundaries, not walls, not ultimatums, but clear, calm terms. This is what I want. This is what feels good. This is what I no longer entertain. And here's the magic of it all. The woman who can be kind and clear, she's unforgettable. She's not emotional chaos, she's emotional clarity. And when a man feels that, he knows he's not just talking to someone who wants attention. He's engaging with someone who values herself. That's the kind of woman who stays in his mind, not because she yelled, not because she chased, but because she embodied truth without losing grace. So stay with me, my friends, because next we're stepping into something even deeper, the art of testing his depth without saying a single word. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is in the silence between your sentences. Number 5, test his depth without saying a word. There comes a moment after the silence, after the text, after he's come circling back, where you're face to face again. Maybe it's on the phone, maybe it's a coffee catch-up, maybe it's him showing up like he never left. And in that moment, your heart wants to rush ahead. You want to know where he stands. You want to fill the air with something, anything, to keep the energy from feeling awkward or uncertain. But here's what I need you to understand, my friends. You don't need to say everything, and in fact, you don't need to say much at all, because the truth is, your energy asks questions your mouth never has to. When a man comes back into your space, you don't have to interrogate him. You don't have to demand answers or push for clarity. What you do have to do is hold your center. Hold your eye contact just a little longer. Let the silence stretch just a bit more than usual. Smile softly, but don't rush to fill the void. Let him fill it. See, men are used to women rushing in with words, explaining, asking, pleading. They're not used to a woman who can sit in her own power, calm, unbothered, radiant in her stillness. And that stillness, it speaks louder than any paragraph ever could. It says, I'm not desperate for this to work. I'm observing if it should. Let me give you a picture. Imagine you walk into a luxury store, beautiful, elegant, high-end. The sales associate doesn't rush you. She doesn't talk over you. She doesn't beg for your attention. She stands with presence. She knows the worth of what's in that room. That energy, that's you. You don't need to overperform, and you simply let him lean in, because here's the truth most women never get told. Men don't remember easy. They remember earned. The woman who made him work a little harder, not for validation, but for emotional reentry, that's the woman he replays in his mind, not because she played games, but because her presence required presence in return. She didn't give herself away in exchange for attention. She allowed him to experience the privilege of access. So when you're with him, after the pullback, after the silence, test his depth, not with drama, not with demands, but with silence. Does he meet your eyes? Does he match your emotional tempo? Does he lean in when you lean back? Because you're not trying to impress him anymore. You're feeling his capacity for presence, for consistency, for connection. You're watching not what he says, but what he holds. Does he rush to fill space, or does he sit in it with you? My friends, power isn't loud. It's composed. It's quiet confidence. It's knowing you don't have to audition for your own worth. So stay with me, because next we're going even deeper. When he returns, you don't just continue where you left off. You rebuild something better from the ground up. Number 6, don't resume. Rebuild. Let's say he's come back. He's texting again, calling, showing up, saying all the right things, and part of you wants to fall back into the rhythm, pick up where things left off like it was just a little break, a short pause in the connection. But here's the truth, my friends. Picking up where you left off keeps you stuck where you were. You're not here to resume. You're here to rebuild. Because whether he pulled away or you took a step back, something happened. The energy shifted, there was silence, there were questions, and even if he returns like nothing happened, you felt the gap. Ignoring that doesn't make you strong. It makes the foundation shaky. So no, don't act like nothing happened. Don't slide back into the same conversations, the same patterns, the same way of doing things. Because if it led to a disconnect the first time, why would it build something stronger the second? This is your moment to reset the rhythm. Think of your connection like a song. The first version might have had a good melody, some sweet lyrics, a catchy beat, but something was off. The timing, the harmony. So instead of hitting play on the same old track, you start composing something new. You change the tempo, you raise the frequency, you bring in a new vibe, and now he has to adjust to your rhythm, not because you're playing games, but because you're evolving. Let him feel that, not in attitude, not in ego, but in your energy. Show up differently, speak with more intention, ask new questions, set new standards. You're not asking him to relive the past. You're asking if he's ready to build a future, because this time around, you're not handing out emotional access for free. You're moving with purpose. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to explain that shift. You embody it. You show him with your presence. I'm not here to continue what was. I'm here to create what could be. Let me give you a visual. Imagine you're welcoming someone back into your home, but this isn't the same space they remember. You've repainted, reorganized. There's new light, a new energy. It's still yours, but it's elevated. They walk in and instantly know something's changed. And if they want to stay, they have to rise with it. And that's the same with your emotional space. Don't rewind, recalibrate. You've grown in his absence. You've gained clarity. You've healed parts of yourself you didn't even know were bleeding. So now you're not afraid to build again, but only if the foundation is mutual. So stay with me, my friends, because up next, we're going to talk about something most people overlook. It's not just about rebuilding from the outside in. It's about holding the energy that makes him realize he's not just lucky you're back, he's lucky you waited. Number 7, your reaction sets the rhythm. Let's talk about what happens after he comes back. The part no one really prepares you for, because we spend so much time wondering if he'll return that we don't always think about how we'll receive him when he does. And let me tell you something powerful, my friends. Your reaction sets the rhythm. You may think you're just responding, just being honest, just following the flow, but in truth, the way you carry yourself in those first few moments sets the tone for everything that follows. If you get anxious, he gets comfortable. If you get calm, he gets curious. If you get grounded, he gets pulled in. Because masculine energy responds to rhythm. It doesn't just hear your words, it feels your emotional tempo. And when your tempo is fast, needy, rushed, he leans out. But when you hold a slower, steadier pace, he leans in. So let's create the scene. He reaches out. He wants to talk. He wants to see how things are. You feel that familiar mix of nerves and excitement. Your mind starts racing ahead, wondering what to say, how to sound, whether to act cool or be real. But instead of spiraling into performance, you pause, you breathe. You remember, you don't have to win him back. You only have to be rooted in who you are. Because when you're grounded, when you respond with softness instead of scrambling, you don't just keep your dignity, you create magnetism. Think about it like this. Imagine you're at a dance. If one person panics and starts rushing the steps, the entire dance becomes messy, offbeat, disconnected. But the person who holds the rhythm, who moves with calm confidence, they become the lead, the anchor. That's you. Stillness, breath, calm joy. That's your power posture. That's what he'll feel when he returns. And that feeling, it's unforgettable, because most women react, but the woman who doesn't flinch, she becomes a force, a mystery, a mirror. He doesn't know why, but suddenly he's leaning in more, trying harder, listening deeper, because you're no longer moving to his rhythm. You've created your own. That's what real confidence looks like. Not icy, not indifferent, but unshaken, like a flame that doesn't flicker with the wind. And here's the secret most people miss. When you stay grounded, you don't just make him feel safe with you. You make him feel safe with himself. Let him feel that being in your presence feels like coming home, not to comfort, but to clarity, not to the past, but to possibility. And now, my friends, here's the moment we've been building toward. When he comes back, don't just say hello. Say this, through your energy, through your calm, through your smile, I see you, but I also see me. That's not just a phrase, that's a declaration. Because the woman who truly sees herself doesn't shrink when love returns. She stands taller. She doesn't chase validation. She carries value. So if this stirred something in you, press that like button, subscribe, and remember, you don't have to be loud to be felt. You just have to be real. And I'll see you in the next one.